Hi everybody, and welcome to Rise of an Empire, the Cortex Group, episode 16. We're doing audio checks. Anybody that's watching, give us a shout. We aren't going to be able to interact with you, as the usual disclaimer, once the game starts. But I will see if any messages come up, and if the audio is particularly terrible, I can try and fix it. Oh,
that worked.
that was straight through.
Straight through. That worked. If anyone was listening carefully, that's the ringing in your ears is
The
due to my
screaming
cough.
sound.
Yeah, due to my cough.
Right, okay, so where did we get to? We got to the point where I've lost my pen.
Excellent.
Game's over.
Right, that's it. Thanks for seeing the god.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Next week on the Cortex Group, Kane finds his pen.
This one shall do. It's not as good as my other one. It's not my lucky one. I don't get natural 20s all the time.
Never miss dice. Ooh.
Oh, and the update's correct as well. Fantastic. Right, very quickly then. So, episode 15.
60. Oh, no, last week.
Last week. Episode 15, we saw the group manage to... Oh, is everyone muted?
Apparently not.
We managed to get to the point where the Azril Duraz, the Heaven Stone, had been taken from the Migdal von Galbarak hold, the fallen dwarf hold at the watchtower of the pass. Something had managed to get a hold of it. It had been, the watchtower had fallen between the battle between the dwarves and the greenskins. The stone had been found wherever it had actually landed. It had been taken there, and a tunnel had been dug. It was left there inside of this rotating cage. You managed to get it out, and as you were leaving the hold with it, you came across one of the Soviet, the ruling council of the Semathai, Ubin, and a full talon of Vaktori. However, the spears were thrust into the snow downwards, and it was a sign of peace. Ubin was close to collapsing, and did in fact collapse shortly after seeing him. You brought them inside, fed them, watered them, let them rest. You spoke to Ubin at length, and he told of a tale of the fall of the Semathai themselves, that a dark ritual had been cast by Ingvar, and in doing so, he invited into the plane several denizens of the void, and they took shape and form with the Soviet and some of the Zakanik that had been pulled back from the tribes. In doing so, there was a lot of name changes as they became one with these void creatures. One being Ingvar, being named Ivig Sin.
Ivig Sin, isn't it? Z? Ivig Sin.
Sin.
Oh, I thought it was Z.
Which translated as the Great Eye. He was a spokesperson for this new dark god in the true north, the far north beyond the Reich Basin, who had been named Sin Neth. Other changes, other people that had been bonded with these void creatures, the Zakanik were renamed the Elak. The leader, favoured or trusted lieutenant, was Gan Betar,
Which used to be Buso.
who was Buso. Chief of the Elak was named Al Balzul, and you mentioned some other names. Of the two surviving of the Soviet, they were named Aklios and Alsbeth, the Shadebound, the Great Serpents. The Vaktori were then given. There was an Althor prince had been brutally tortured and flayed. His body was then given over to the most lowliest of denizens of the void, and he was named the Rim Gad, the Dark One, command of the Vaktori. The souls were of this Alfar prince, as you found out, of Godric, your once ally, were condemned to a gem, the Andem Eld, which he wears around his neck. This soul gem, when it's trapped the souls of its victims, or should say Ivig Sin's victims, can be used to empower him, to greatly empower him. So basically, what Ubin explained was that the Fornamoa, the Druid's place of power, had been left a place of ruin and death, as the Elak and these void creatures fell upon those that lived there, because there was many more. There wasn't just normal Semnithai, there was people of minor power, there was servants, slaves, etc. They all fell to their blades. The Vactoria, that were considered not to be loyal to their new path, were attacked. Some survived. Ubin managed to get many of them together, and they fought their way into the Black Mountains, where he was able to find you. Ivig Sim had ordered Ubin to track you down and effectively slay you. He did track you down, but turned against Ivig Sim at the last, and that's where he was at this position, exhausted, and telling the tale of this change. So the Semnithai, in essence, is no more. The Zakaniks no longer advise the tribes, as Ivig Sin and the Elak went north to meet with the Dog, the Norse tribes across the Sea of Claws to the north. He then, Ubin had said before he lay down for the night to sleep, more restful, had said that him and the Vactari with him were heading west to the Alfar lands west of the Grey Mountains, where he wished to inform their king of the fall of the prince, the end result, as it were, where Prince Dear's soul was, and seek forgiveness. The Vactari with him had sworn their oaths to make sure, to follow him into the lands to the west. And that was how the night had ended, effectively. There'd been some watches set, and as the dawn rises on a fresh day, the Vactari are preparing themselves for the journey. Ubin has woken. He's still very grey, but much of his energy and strength is restored. You, of course, have the Azril Duraz, which you didn't mention. You didn't bring up. You haven't said anything about it. He doesn't know anything about it. And effectively, you are in the main in the centre of the hold of the tower. When food has been given out, some of the Vactari woke up and prepared the food. And you are sitting effectively at a table very similar to this stone bench, as it were, eating, breaking your fast and preparing for the journey. Which, of course, with Azril Duraz, as your father, Tal, instructed was to be recovered and given to the High King of the Dwarves. Just as a quick reminder, obviously you call yourselves the Dawi, you call them dwarfs. We recognise that they've got a name for themselves.
We just refuse to use that.
They're manlings to you. And that's effectively as it is. Around you is you're surrounded in industrious preparations. The Vactari, ever military and quick to recover, prepare themselves for the trip west through the Black Mountains, preparing food for the trail, making sure water skins are prepared. What armour they have still left is being administered to the weapons, etc. And you sit at the table breaking your fast and preparing for the journey. So, episode 16. You are still in Migdal von Galbarak. You're obviously the guide. You've got your own reasons for being there, is there no doubt aware of, ever since you appeared.
We're aware he's got reasons, we're just not aware of what they are.
Exactly, yeah.
He must have reasons, he's not sharing them.
Well, the fact that, you don't forget when you first saw him was upon the walls of the Dwarf Hold.
Yeah.
in the Grey Mountains, and it was only through him that you were actually given entrance. And he said basically that he knew of the Azril. Well, he didn't give it its name. You called it the Heavenstone. He calls it the Azril Duraz. Its true name as he thinks of it. And he said that he was given, or he's there to guide you, and he has done so far. And that is pretty much, yeah. That's
Well, I mean, we've already spoken to Crom.
I've checked around the place,
yep.
seen what's happened.
So, I mean,
We got the information back about the nothing down there from the spirits. Like,
Yeah, the hold is there's no green skin. There's nothing.
Yeah,
there.
there's
Effectively, the ground is given up to itself. The still cooling is the lava flow river below you.
I mean, what we want to do is go and find the High King. That's my father's charged me with a mission, and I'm not about this late stage of my life to suddenly second guess what I think he meant. I'll just take direction when the High God says you will find the Heavenstone and you will take it to the High King. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Grim, we'll need your assistance to which way is he situated?
south.
Yes, south. That causes me great consternation. What exactly is south? Because south to me is not a good place. Is there another way? Can we go like east and then south? Is there another way of getting it, or is he just south?
East would be death,
South doesn't sound too peachy to me as well.
but south, we travel it all the time. Easy pass. Well,
But you consider these, and I think there's a corpse of a black orphan nearby. You consider these perfectly fine. Whereas I look at that and I go, that's going to keep you up at night. So when you say it's easy,
there's other settlements of humans in the south.
humans in the south. Well, that's a lie, because they all came with us. The Seventh Eye brought them out, and
Yes, and we've seen what the Sympathy have done recently. Is
well, that's just been a recent,
oversight.
well, just aberration. That's not been the Seventh Eye way for the last 1,000 years. He says, making up a number, but for generations at least.
I agree with Grim.
You agree with Grim what?
We follow Grim.
Well, yes, I didn't say we wouldn't follow. I'm just saying, is south the best way?
If the
Given the fact what we know of the south, you remember that you've heard the teachings. You've been around Seventh Eye and the councils. South is not somewhere which we left the south. South's bad. Is there a way to get to the High King without directly going into something bad?
I know of a way to get to the High King through the south.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess. But let it be said, if this all goes pear-shaped, it's on your head.
Ruben, who was passing by, is obviously can hear what you're saying and stops at the table. South, our people have always taught is the greatest doom. Is why the people came north. You say that there are people in the south itself, and that you know of a passageway. Is that through this pass?
South of this pass, yes.
Through
There
or
is a
of-
town that's called.
hell.
hell.
Heel.
It's called death. Certain death.
Yeah, let's go to hell.
Yeah.
How you pronounce it might be different how they pronounce it. So go with it.
Go with it. Death. Hmm?
Helioberg.
Heliokberg. This is a human settlement. It is a human settlement, or it was a human settlement. Sorry, there's humans down there, right? And how far is that roughly in days' travel?
About 3 days.
Right. And what can we expect to meet on the way? Nothing but kindness. If we're unlucky.
For a look at me kindness.
I'll take some glass to chew just because that's who I am. Grr. Right, well, I mean, yeah. As Ruben has said, our teachings are such that the South is not somewhere where anyone gladly wanders. It's death, basically.
We've always been told that Well, the survivors of this great doom came north with us. There was nothing left but desolation.
Well, south we must head, and south it is, and I will track on ahead if need be, Master. I will assure you safe passage.
Though I can't give counsel as to your journey south like you, I know nothing of it. I thought of a barren wasteland, given only to a great darkness that befell our people. I can say that the mountains themselves, the Great Eye has created an alliance with the green-skinned creatures of the mountains, the beastkin in the forests, and other fell horrible things upon wing. To stay in the mountains itself will still be within Sin's reach. Hopefully, if you do travel south, it will be beyond his vision.
It seems like from the frying pan into the fire. Elisar, good dwarf here, has it right, and it's joyous merrymaking abounds in the desolate, death-bringing south.
As long as we make the 3 days. 3 days to Heavy and we'll pass through the forest. And that forest will be north and south. Will be goblin tribes.
North and south of the forest, or
Territories.
the forest is bisected by through the centre of the forest, bisects two goblin territories. It's fun. Sounds great. And you sure this is a well-travelled road?
Traveled it many times in my youth.
And recently?
Not so recently.
So is your information still holds that this is a passable area? We've come this far to get the heavenstone. I don't necessarily want to give it up to...
It is a possible.
Guess we have no choice.
What are the other options? There are none.
Well,
If you want to go to the High King, south is the High King.
And this is the only road.
south it isn't.
Myself and the Vaktar are prepared to leave now.
And you're going...
We're heading west. We'll leave from the Black Mountains, yeah. We'll head back through the passes that we came. We'll enter the Grey Mountains, and we look to a region known as the Vaults, though none of us have been there before. From there, we can get into, well, we believe the Bretoni settled. Long have they been away from us. Hopefully, Sin's power will not reach that far. From there, with the gods' will, we shall find the Zalfar.
My only concern, although I can do nothing of it, is that while Sin, his power may not be reaching the Bretoni if they still exist, it's only a matter of time before it extends into where other humans, if they are there. I'm sure that's his choice, his target. Maybe south would be better for you. Maybe it would be better to go as far away, directly opposite, and in a different direction from where his stronghold is. Just keep going. Come with us. We could use your help.
I must tell the king of what happened to his son. His son came to us, as I said, with the offer of peace, teachings of the old powers that we've long since forgotten. If we are to stand against Sin, we will need all the power and allies we can get. You obviously head to see the High King of the Mountain Folk. They can be an ally, as will the Alfar. We might be able to hold back the damage we've done. The tribes are separate. I don't know what we can do to bring them together, because they do nothing but distrust us. And now that the Seventh Eye have forsaken them, we can only quickly turn to open hate. If the gods will, I shall seek you out in the south. I'll look for sign of your coming. And hopefully, with new learning, new power.
Well, I wish you nothing but success, Ubin, and I hope the trail is quiet and there are no issues. And it will be a difficult conversation to have with the king when you bring them that grim news. Hopefully, understands that the messenger is not responsible for the outcome.
He puts his hand out and to shake farewell. Wish luck, brother.
Fist bumps.
Victoria.
Not you.
Thane. Oh, no, still not you.
Not you.
Victoria lift up their packs, sling them to shoulder, take the weapons that they have. Thorvad approaches you. I wish you luck, Caradak. Then hopefully we'll meet again on this side of Moor's realm. May your spear stay sharp and your shield. He stops, looks up.
I don't know.
May your sword stay sharp and your shield ever strong. He then turns as the Victoria march out through the doorway.
Are you ready to take over the shield, Ruben? Because I will drop it for your men. I've been maintaining.
I will. Takes a moment. You can you see the the energy start to coalesce around him. And, he puts the shield across him and the Victoria warriors, and gives one final nod, and they step effectively out around the corner, and you can hear their sandal feet as they march out through the front of the hold, leaving you in a suddenly much quieter Dwarfhold.
Right. Okay, we got supplies. We're ready to go. Supplied up. Everyone fed, watered, hosed.
Make sure I've got some supplies.
Quickly get a few boars.
Got the what vibes on what?
few stag pies. You know, like Desperate Dan style. Right, we're ready. As ready as we'll ever be. I don't think you can scout ahead because you don't exactly know where we're going. We may have to rely on Grim. Unless Grim can tell you where we're going in the short term, so you can use your... What... Caradak, you're Caradak. You're not... You're still in that form.
I'm Caradak.
You're in Caradak's form.
I am Caradak.
Yeah. So you might be able to utilise your skill set as Caradak better than Grim, but I don't know how you're going to do that if we don't know where we're going. You're probably a better scout than a heavily, well, I'm not going to say armoured, but better than the tank.
We're heading south. Just lead the way.
Right, so no scouting.
Well, you leave the Dwarfhold and you work your way down through the snowy pass onto into the valley proper, marching at a fairly good rate. You leave the Fallen Hold behind you as you make your way ever south. The pass isn't like the great fable stories would dictate, some kind of long flat ground between mountains. It's a long meandering. There's plateaus and peaks falling down stone, rock, etc. The pass is hardly a straight and perfect walk south.
Typical. The old stories make it serious. And then we came through the pass, and it was a mere like. Then you get there, and you look at it and go, "Oh, bugger! Look at that! That's never going to be easy."
There is plenty of times where you're literally hand and feet crawling across scree and fallen stone. Sometimes drops can appear near the side of you, which are anything other than gentle. The going is hard. You remember that Grim had said 3 days journey. The strain on calf and bicep is going to be quite difficult, and very quickly you find your hands already calloused by a hard life, or still covered in little cuts and openings where you've had to grip a hold of the ice and stone around you. As the day passes by, however, the further south you go, even at this slow pace, the snow quickly recedes to above you. The constant sound of melting snow and water is a companion as it turns into small rivulets and sudden rivers which appear and disappear into the rock. The cloud that is or has been a companion of the Black Mountains remains with them as you head further south towards the unknown, effective view, and towards the land that you're taking them, the path south. You You find the further south you go. Oh, wrong one. Oops. I hope you didn't read that. You find as the day meanders on and darkness starts to fall, even though you're still fairly high up in the mountains itself, much lower now than you were at the beginning of the day. The skies are blue, the clouds are given through the white fluff, as it were, that seem to float gently upon the air. You can feel the warmth starting to make its way through your wolf and boar pelts. The going gets somewhat easier, and as the light starts to fade, in mind, thought almost is whether or not you can keep up this punishing sort of pace, or if in fact you need to slow down, as you have been marching with small respite from here and there where a plateau would allow take on water, a small bite to eat to keep your strength up. You find as the night starts, as the dusk starts to cast its shadow across the area, you find yourself a hidden delve, an area where the wind that constantly moves across you, heading north into the colder climate, is, you're protected from it by this natural formation of stones and rock. Gathering what wood you can from the scant trees that have found purchase in the stone, you are able to make a fire that will protect you from sight, but also give you warmth. An enemy would have to physically stumble upon you. You haven't before, during your day, come across a place of such sort of a natural resting point. And you slump down, dropping your packs to the side, dig out your food, and have an actual more relaxed breath than you've had in months. But you are aware that the night will come, and this delve, this area, this location, this fire will allow you to keep warm, and you've got enough firewood for the night. Very little conversation has been had between you. Unable to, been saving your energy for the climbing. But you find yourselves relaxing for the first time in a long time, leaning against bedrolls. Your cloaks obviously are double up as your blanket. Again, the dwarf seems to be completely immune to the temperature. It's not by any means as cold as it has been. You can still feel a chill in the air. You can see the steam rising from his muscled form. And his energy seems to be prodigious. There.
Prodigious?
Prodigious. Prodigious. That word.
It's that, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, he's strong
Big.
in that.
Yeah.
He's got big endurance.
He's a big nagger.
So yeah, you relax for the night. You've fed. You are weary.
Mm.
Have you been keeping up a shield?
Yeah. Yeah.
Therefore, well.
Knackered.
Yeah.
Fairly.
You're mentally and physically tired.
Yeah, fairly tired.
In fact, you'll have had to call a stop as one of the times you looked over, you'll have seen that he soldiering on as best he can, but you can see that there's a grayness to his skin that wasn't there at the beginning of the day. His movement has become more sluggish, and that's why you called an end to the march. So you're relaxing in this area. The fire casts its shadows across the mountain rock around you. You are out of the cold. It hasn't rained. It doesn't look like it's going to rain. But as the night settles, you find yourself close to the fire to keep away from the mountain chill.
This shield that I've been putting up with for the last few months, I just guess I just let it down when I sleep, or is it?
Well, that's the thing is, yeah, you've had to bear in mind that you know how this all works.
Yeah,
is that they've got to find you.
Yeah, and then be waiting for you to drop your guard and out. So,
but they can't track you if you've had the shield up all the time. So,
yeah.
There's they don't know where you are. So
I just take the chance.
Yeah. However, of course, you also know that even with the shield down, so this would be the safest point. You've dropped the shield. You are a day's march from the pass, whether they knew you had the pass or not. You'd have to notice you, and the easiest way for them to do that is if you do anything that sets off a ripple.
A big ostentatious use of power, basically.
Yes, and that will definitely attract his attention. But you are aware, though you have not felt his gaze pass above you, across you, or by you. It is the safest point to do so. perhaps even to the point of the chance of him finding you now at this stage would be somewhat unlucky. It is possible. Would you continue
Take the chance.
Would you wait and just say, I'm going to rest now and leave the shield down? Because that will allow you to travel further and longer. I mean, the main thing is you've got to consider now as you do slump exhausted is how fast you want this pace to be. You're averaging around about 4 miles an hour.
Yeah, well, it's probably faster than I can go. I don't really want to drop the shield. I don't want to give him a vector to say, oh, we know where he is. Let's head that way. At the moment, he's got the entire mountains to go searching for me, which means he could gleefully be searching that for hundreds of years and not come anywhere close. So I'd rather do that because I think there's a potential that whatever he's got can move faster than we can. So if he knows where I am, next thing you know, we'll have company of an unpleasant kind. So I'll be keeping the shield up, but yeah, it'll just have to go slow. I'm just getting tired. Old like the hills.
So you've got it up now, and obviously drop it when you sleep, and then raise it up as fresh. What you can do, of course, then I'm sorry that I prolonged this entire conversation, is you could put wards up at night around the area into the stone itself, which they're not as powerful, but they can definitely give
some protection.
Yeah, like effectively a cloud around this area.
Right.
By default, I'll be on guard anyway.
Bear in mind that even though you have a prodigious endurance for a manling, you have to have that mix of, you can march at ridiculous, you can go days without rest and still fight, but not knowing when that fight's going to happen, you're going to have to rest when you can. It's a very fine balancing act of getting to the point of now truly exhausted, not being capable. That backsliding sort of feel. Now, obviously, you've had a good night's rest. You feel, well, you can tell. They can tell by the way you seem to flit from rock face to rock face with a youthful abandon. And obviously, you're feeling great after that decent night's sleep. Which is the benefit of the youth.
You can tell by the way you walk that you're a woman's man.
He ain't got no time at all. His 20 years of being at his prime are obviously showing.
Just strutting down. Hey, hawk.
With can of paint.
and a black pasta. And an afro. Right, well, I'm going to get a kip because I need it. You two can do whatever you two want to do.
Don't know what he's doing there.
Just, I can't see it. It can't see me. I can hear gobbling. Did you say goblins?
So you're basically sitting by the fire, eating and drinking.
Eating
a rock.
Eating
Having a look at a rock. All right. Okay.
You're just there like, what the?
Right. Okay.
Because I noticed last time you had some type of effect on it.
Absolutely. Well, you basically curl up in you have some meagre food.
Yeah, I'm
as
just
best
like...
you can. You're that exhausted. You curl up and you are literally getting, and you can hear, what are you doing? Are you all by the fire?
Just by the fire, yeah.
Right. So you see him brings his pack off of his shoulder. You know what it is. He doesn't carry he's got food slung around him, but takes the pack off, puts it on the side while eating, and uncorks his wine skin or ale skin. You are lying literally on the cusp of going into a deep sleep when your eyelids are lit up for a moment, and you immediately open your eyes and you see him quickly covering the stone.
It's got a torch. Blink. Start!
The moment that you went like this, the light was so much more brighter in such a dark confine, and as soon as it happened, when covered over again.
What the?
And you can see his eyes glittering in the darkness.
Reaching out.
But yeah, for a moment there was
Stop playing with it. Leave the stone alone.
The light was as intense as the dark was dark.
So it was like, just like, yeah.
Yeah. You do feel refreshed.
Everyone's like, I can't see.
Yeah, you are literally like, I can't see shit.
All I can see is stars.
You know, for you,
Flop.
obviously, you had your eyes closed. But you know, but that moment of a light being shone on
Yeah.
you, right, you do feel refreshed. Not immensely. It's not like you've had a good night's sleep and you've
But I
been
feel
camping
better.
out somewhere. You could feel that there was that moment of
Like warmth.
warmth came through, and it did have a good. You know, some aches went away. You're not anywhere near as
And
death
Caradak.
tired as you were.
So Caradak's now falling up through. Slap! Oh! I feel so good.
How far did he fall? It's right on the edge, because we know what that's like.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm standing here, and there's wide path. No, not till the daytime do you realise you're on the side.
Oh my God! Did you see what we did? Oh no! You know the bit where you ran and jumped off the tree? Do you know if you'd missed? Oh, that's a long way down there. All right, there was rocks when it broke your fall.
And you scream,
Yeah.
so the rest of us could sleep. Yeah, so your night vision is shot, sparkles to your eyes. Being that close to it, in your mind, you're not used to. There's no such thing as sort of magical artifacts or all this sort of stuff. There's nothing makes sense to you that the stone. Obviously, there's a correlation with that sort of extra sort of rest feeling, that a bit of energy.
So am I?
Why does it seem to be
Am I a
cut off by being in a hide?
Yeah, like it doesn't work in a matter.
Yep. But it doesn't make sense because that's not warded. It's literally in a piece of cloth, effectively, a bit of hide.
I've put a towel over it.
Yeah, and it suddenly it doesn't work. Or possibly that the light it's casting light is what is a side effect of it, and you were bathed in it even for that moment.
Right.
But the light is was definitely a thing of concern.
So every single bad thing's like, like
Yeah.
what was
People
that?
are going, we'll never find them. In the black middle night,
And just shadows of us three. Well, that looks like
What the hell is that creature? How many arms has it got?
that looks like Caradak Ulmakor and, I don't know, some sort of dwarf.
Whatever it is.
23 miles away. Ooh.
But yeah, anything outside the valley will have just seen suddenly a spark within the mountain range. Just go,
You mean somewhere in Reichdorf? What's that?
yeah, the bat signal went out.
Sorry.
It is literally, it was a heartbeat. You were like, right. Because I know as you were thought, because you didn't say it out loud, was you would, maybe this will help them. Shit.
It wasn't that genuine.
In the game?
In the cave.
In the cave.
With them all up.
Right. We're just outside, aren't we? We're not anywhere sheltered.
Yeah. Well, you're sheltered on.
Yeah, but what I mean is,
you're literally
it's not like, all right, we'll open this somewhere quiet. I can't see.
There's a massive floodlight.
Yeah. Put the socks on top. That'll keep it down. Behold the.
When your night vision comes back, he still has that sort of look of, yeah. But there's also that sort of challenge in his eyes, like, come on, you didn't know.
Yeah. What of it? I meant to do that.
Maybe there's I was just testing.
Yeah. Look if we did that now. Not somewhere that would have been costly for us. In the forest, yeah. On the path, getting dark. Just can you open that bag? Right. I don't know what that is.
Well, that was the only question I had.
That was it.
What's that?
What the hell?
My eyes.
Why is it doing that? You have any ideas?
Well, no, without lifting it up and having a look at it again. But I don't want to do that.
Try it without the fire.
Try what without the fire? You just opened it up. You didn't put it in the fire.
Are you an expert in this field?
Just saying.
Just
Words. It's a rock. It's shiny. What the hell? Nobody's had to put up with this before. I'm spitballing. Not all of it's golden. Some of it's gonna be a bit shitty.
Yeah. What's next?
Nobody else coming up with ideas. Oh, so clever are we? Playing it safe. Instead of mocking me for my thoughts, how about you come up with your own, you bastard? It storms off. I'm taking me rock.
Take me wrong ways. Just, I like that. Oh, so you're an expert, are you? Ooh. Hark it here.
Dear me. That's such a dwarvish answer, that.
No, just saying. You are, yep.
Yeah,
Can't argue with that.
I'm just using my words.
Not argue with that at all. I think he's lying. He's an expert.
Thing is, though, knowing Caradak, that was actually a legitimate question.
Yeah, it was.
Any actual, antagonistic value behind it. But to the rest of the planet,
Yeah.
it was, ooh, bitch.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
Really?
Are you an expert?
Oh,
Are
you an
That's how I
expert?
said it.
I didn't mean it like that. Is that how it sounded?
That's how the fable is told, though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes.
That you-
Bitchy Caradak.
that you
God, I was right, bitch.
that you pranced over to the dwarf
He
and went,
was
ooh, expert are you? Ooh.
Grim said, perhaps if we look upon it without the light of the fire. Oh, you're an expert, are you? Said Caradak.
Who died and made you emperor? What?
Boo. Sounds horrible.
Yeah, you're always betrayed by somebody with a hump
Yeah,
and a big
yeah.
warty nose. And there's Caradak.
When he's not there,
Expert are you?
slightly greener now. Who's-
Expert are you? Boo.
If you need me, I shall be out the back
Tomatoes at him.
drowning puppies.
Caradak, child slayer. What? I never slayed us.
Child smeller.
Because let's be honest. Do you remember in chapter 17 of the Great Tale where he went up to the hag mother and went,
Yeah. Think you're important, do you? You won't look so good when you get eaten.
You women. It's not what I said, but that's how it's portrayed.
that's how it's said in the field.
That's how it comes across, yeah.
When you look back and see that the first person that actually wrote this down was called Ulmakor.
Yeah.
It wasn't Ulmakor at all.
Ulmakor.
Ulmakor the bard.
And so was born
Some
the...
Hispanic way, eh?
Yeah. Won't look so good when you get eaten. What?
Well, look what happened to her.
There you go. You see? I'm prophetic. Some sort of expert, are you? Hag mother.
We're obviously not that powerful.
Now look, you know. By the way, I'm not saying this out loud. This is a
Yeah.
And Batar's dinner.
Merely an hors d'oeuvre. Not even a full course.
All powerful. Use your toe as a pick.
Right,
So no, that was in game. Just to clarify.
it
Because, you know,
was all in game.
Okay,
All of
has
it.
a
All,
tendency to do that. That was all in game.
That was all
That's
in-
just me around the fire going, ooh.
Suddenly
I look at you
just
now.
he just loses his shit completely. Starts talking about arguments that he never won years ago.
Says
Goes off
she's
on a
your
complete
powerful hag. I
tangent.
look at you now. Ooh.
you'll think your mum's really good.
He's drinking water.
Turns around with his back to him, pulls his cloak over him.
Tell me what to do.
You're like, what just happened? Again?
Further and further we go from the seventh isle, the more erratic he becomes.
He's batshit crazy.
Didn't have to say those nasty things about me mum.
Yeah.
She was your mum? Oh yeah, she's your mum.
Yeah, you're going, ooh, not so clever now, you've been eaten.
No.
Ooh.
Oh wait, is she?
Meanwhile, I'm like, it's my mother.
Was that actually your mum?
Yes.
Was it? I thought there was just many of them.
No,
You've
I
got
thought
many
she was
mothers.
that's why, if you ever look back through the original recordings, this is out of game, the look of horror on my face when you just stroll back and go, hey, she got chewed on that
Huh?
bitch.
I don't think it's so bad.
The lady,
She was useless.
The lady in the pot.
The lady in the lady in the
He's
pot.
trying to be gentle and crude.
Literally no other pot. There's no other way. There's literally
No.
no way.
No.
to
Finished
say
tales.
No,
the
no.
chapter, the lady
No,
in
little,
the pot.
no, little Jimmy. It's about your mum. She's got her head eaten by a bear, and is currently scooping out all the innards. There's blood everywhere. Ladylike, you know, like she's not looking her best. Lady in the pot.
She's in a better place. In his belly. Oh, well, as long as
You've heard of the Lady of the Lake? It's not a lake.
more of a pot.
more of a cooking pot
But did we know?
Salt and
on
peppers.
simmer.
Only you know that, right?
Only I know what.
Did we know that?
Did who know what?
That lady was in the pot.
Yes. You went.
No, I didn't go inside though. Did we go inside? Or was it? I thought he just went.
You went. You
Mine.
went. You went over.
So you didn't get the emotional connotations and the fear,
Yeah.
but you could see the cooking pot.
Oh.
You can see the remains.
Just
of
one leg hanging out.
Yeah, right. And you recognise it from that? Where from?
Or other hag mothers that are just knocking around.
I thought there was more than one. Isn't there more than
Not
one?
at one time.
No, there's just one. Well, what about the one that we saw? Was that your mum? Your mum.
In the pot.
the one that you were going.
Ooh, think you're clever
So
now.
hypothetically, the one that apparently went ooh too.
Yeah,
That's your mum.
was.
Was your mum?
Yes.
Is your mum? Was your mum?
Well-
She already dead then.
Well, she. No, she's just resting in someone's belly.
Was that
She'll
just,
get her shit back together eventually.
Yeah. Come on.
do you think they really ate her, or was that just for effects?
Eating for effects.
No, like put her in a pot, lady in the pot, just for effects.
Pot. Edited out
You
of
think
that
it was for
Arthurian
effect?
legend.
Just to,
For
you know,
effect.
cast fear to say, oh, we've killed Hagmother and she's in a pot. And we're going to eat her, but we're not really because we're not cannibals. We just like to cut people up and put them in pots. For
Because
It's still something that she's going to recover from.
yeah. Because we're not stupid.
oh, I didn't say she was in recovery.
We're not evil, you know. We're not complete batshit crazy. We just chopped her into bits and put her in a pot. We didn't need it, Judge.
effect.
Yeah. Come on, Judge. We didn't need it. We're not
More to the
animals.
point, I didn't realise she was your mum. Oh.
You didn't care. Ah. Hey, you know that hag mother? Gotta come up, this
Doing
bitch.
over there?
Comes up.
Right, lads, this has happened. But good news, you can save some of the rations.
That's right.
Because I'm stuffed.
Oh, God.
Well, it would be rude not to.
That's what
She was a
you
tasty old bird.
That's what you would have wanted.
That's what you would have wanted, yes, to be slowly sauteed and boiled. And then eaten by the darkness.
Be killed, really. Come on.
She can't be killed. She looked pretty dead to me.
She's alive.
She's like, in your memories, yes.
She's part of the bigger picture. She's part of bigger busso.
It's just suddenly become a small
She's
pile
not
of
part
shit
of
somewhere else.
Wait, I sense that she might be getting itself back together
Yeah,
again.
oh.
You just had a dump.
Just like, I can sense her light. Oh God. Oh, that's. Oh.
Smelly. I think the void's had an effect on her. So, yes.
Okay, so alright, okay.
Bit of lippy.
That's a bit awkward.
So you're sitting there and you go, oh, so you're an expert, are you? No, it's just something I've said, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I just realised.
I didn't do. This was out of game. This is out of game.
Didn't realise, but hey, it was your mum.
Now, I know that this isn't exactly on topic. Right?
But did they really eat your mum? I don't want to talk about it really.
That was your mum in the pot.
I didn't see all of her, just a leg hanging out.
Hey, you never know. They might have actually eaten her. She might have just chopped her up into bits.
That's right, they're not animals.
She might not be dead.
She's just chopped, finely diced. It's currently a broth.
Hey, that Busso, eh? What a character.
But you must be really angry. But you're sad. Are you sad? You must be sad.
Oh, well, ambushed. Yeah. So meanwhile,
Meanwhile, he's doing like shape figures on the moon. Woohoo!
deformed rabbit. How did they know away?
So I'm going to sleep.
My work is done.
So, are you going back to sleep?
I don't know. I'm just like so many bad memories.
This world is a dark place.
Might just end it now.
Bear in mind that you started off the evening going, well, you know, by default, lads, I've got this.
Yeah, that's right. Briefly. Well, that's my 10 minutes done.
Every time I say I've got this, I've never got this. In every
That's
game.
that's
I've ever
usually
played.
that's the cue for
Mint.
all hell to break loose.
Oh, Marie, I've got this.
Nothing could possibly go
I do
wrong
not
now.
have that.
Oh, I totally underestimated that situation.
Who would have thought of Balrog this far north?
I would remember that once.
Are you just staying by the fire? Keeping an eye out? Okay.
So I'll turn over and go to sleep, get some rest.
Yep.
I think I've said enough.
Well, based on you know how much energy, how tired you are to get to this point, you know that they're going to sleep through, and obviously you're more than capable of taking the night's watch. Are you looking to wake them with the first dawn? Oh! Still middle of the night. Quick, everybody, the sun's up! What? Stagger. Just kidding.
I feel refreshed, but blind.
It's been 20 minutes. Just you were getting into that REM sleep.
Watch out, train man!
Oh my god!
Yeah, I can't help it.
Yeah. Okay. It's about an hour before dawn. The warrior, Caradak, is sleeping soundly. His breathing is
Relaxing for me.
solid and steady. Ulmakor, however, you can hear him making like a low sort of murmurings in his sleep.
She's gonna get it.
The dwarf.
Oh,
Get the dwarf.
in a pot, he said.
It's not too loud that you need to be concerned about, but you can hear him, like I say, starting to murmur. But then again, he seems to be one of those manlings that mumbles a lot anyway. You don't necessarily put it out your mind, but you're noticeably aware of it.
So how do I come to? Or is this just what I remember when I wake up? Oh, my. Right. Well,
Oh, the dawn rises and the dwarf wakes you up. So puckering up. Yes, wakes up. The fire. You bank the fire up again. Get the heat rising. You can feel the heat. Where you're lying around it, and sort of gives you not necessarily gentle kicks to the legs and feet.
ah! I think it's
Kick to the
broken.
ribs.
I think it's broken. Ah!
Yeah.
Just stamping on you. Get up. Ah! Quite squishy, these humans. Ah! Right.
So
Well,
we
leap into action.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You do feel, as rested as you can be on the hard earth, but your body temperature didn't drop. You were kept fairly warm within your pelts anyway. But obviously, having the benefit of having the fire around you, kick the fire out, get your kit together, sling your packs and rolls, and start heading down the pass further south. You are at a more relaxed pace, in the sense of you're not the punishing march that you had started the first day with. Obviously, you refreshed the shielding around you to stop from the scrying, and that does keep you somewhat distracted as the day goes by, drains you mentally. But it's not a massive drain. You can, it's that constant feel of just carrying that extra weight mentally, while also trying to concentrate on not falling to your death through one of the many cracks and ravines. You're getting to the end of the second day, and the going has become noticeably easier. The ground becoming flatter and more of a decline. There is a lack of sudden drops and difficult terrain. You are literally walking on 2 feet, and you are coming to the end of the pass. You do know that you've got at least as you said. It's on the morrow before you should see the end of the pass. But at this point, this area of the pass has become wider and definitely more easily more traversable. It's more like walking in foothills now as opposed to anything else. Grass has been steadily growing and taking more form. Trees are becoming slightly denser, but at no point do they become, do the block sight. It is still a rocky terrain. You are aware, obviously, stranger, that as it comes to mind now that you're not as tired because physically you're not also taxing yourself. You become aware that you sense, is there anything of large life? There is no, you've got perhaps small creatures that make the mountains their home, but there's nothing of great size or of thought. There's no sort of mountain creatures, there's no rabbit or bear or wolf, there's nothing.
That's worrying.
No lion.
That's troubling, is it?
You don't know anything about it. You've seen no tracks since the same.
Oh.
But I'm not normally in the mountains, so maybe there's a...
Yeah.
And I guess in terms of the haven't got a name for them. Have we? Well, the Yord and maybe his Luft are the only predominance around here. Is it all just
Yes.
like just cavorting around and
Absolutely, yeah. There's they are they don't. Only someone that can affect them will cause them to be different, or cause them a concern or joy or anyway. If left to their own selves, they just get on with existing, and that's effectively what it is like. Yeah.
right?
There is a distinct lack of brand, and the Vatten are fairly weak. The Yord and Luft are in dominance. You don't find anywhere near the same sort of protection as the evening closes on the second day. To risk of fire is, as you say, risking of fire. That's going to be noticeable, specifically from further south. And obviously, if you are being followed or trailed in any way, then looking down into this area of the valley, you will be noted. If you have a fire, it's up to yourself, obviously, if you're going to risk having it. However, that said, there is no snow, there is no frost. It feels the temperature is comfortable.
So we could just have a
So
cool.
we get by then.
We can get we have
Absolutely.
a cool camp basically.
Yeah.
Well, presume is it habit? Where we are is it inhabited, or are we still fairly safe to have a fire, or should we just start nixing on the fire and start doing more cold camps because guide?
Park is rather open. Let's not keep the fire.
You've still got some hours to go anyway.
All right, okay.
Something I supposed to have mentioned by the beginning of the second day, within an hour of you travelling, you note that the valley itself is literally is just lines of mountaintop and stone and rock all around you. However, coming into sight as you go further south down this pass, one large peak seems to dominate the horizon in all directions as you move down. You're looking up at this big, mist-shrouded, snow-capped peak. One big, dominant.
The Lonely Mountain. No, not that one.
That seems to be. That was, you realise that it was shrouded in the snowy top as you were in there. But if the day had cleared during your first day, you'd have seen it. Such a large.
So it's by itself. There's no. It's not part of a range. It's just sitting
No,
there.
it's in the Black Mountains. It is part of this, and it is.
Right,
it's
but
close enough to the
it
range.
stands out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is only because of the weather conditions that you hadn't noticed it from the old. In a clear day, you realise you'd have seen this thing from the Dwarf Hold before you'd even left.
No, I get that. I don't think I've ever seen Mount Araraki.
So
No.
you camp out for the night. I take it you're going to take a bit of a spell on God.
Oh,
Yeah.
that kind of spell. So, yep,
Okay,
I'm being guard
Uh,
duty.
you're taking the first.
Yeah, I shall take the first.
The the night is very clear. You know that this sort of this environment allows for any sort of sound to echo. It'd be difficult to trace a direction of anything to echo from the stone around you. You've seen this as you've walked through the valley. The stones clattering from uneven footing. The sound or lack of is almost deafening. You can hear the wind, and sometimes you'll hear what can, to the superstitious would be the sound of a wailing spirit or a creature of the night, but it's not. It's the wind just echoing through the stone and finding its way through, making a different tilt or sound. You know from our place that the dwarves have even taken advantage of this in their own defences. You get partway through the night when you see he's still sleeping soundly. You wake and sit up, bolt upright. Hawk and spits, by the looks of it.
I'm not going to spit.
Scratch. Pull.
Are you going to relieve him of his command?
Oh, thank you. Oh,
I feel so much more relaxed now. I just need a. It always works, you know. I wake to see my personal bodyguard being hammer wanked by the dwarf. I've gone to a hell.
Why do you think you sleep so soundly?
That's because I'm protected by spells.
Not those spells.
My chastity is mine, deviants. Come on, no. It's not Gave, it's in the mountains. Yes, it is.
So she's got to get yourself asleep and take over the watch.
Do I need to?
Yeah, you're more human. You still need to sleep just because you don't, you can push your way through it. Doesn't mean that you don't still go, I can sleep.
No, I will not.
Been awake for 5 days. She's completely hallucinating.
Yeah.
Okay.
But only for 10 minutes. That's all I need.
Very well, Grim. I should rest.
Well, I don't really feel like it, but
Straight on the fire.
okay.
Excuse me.
Go to sleep. The night, you take a step away. Yeah, well, even in at this altitude, or this low, effectively, as you've come down through the valley, the mountain is very much visible even in the night. The clear sky, moonlight shining upon its surface. The ever-presence of it is large and heavy in your mind. But the night again passes on, and with it the dawn and the rising temperature that comes with it. Again, you wake them. Somewhat tired.
When I wake up, say, Grim, this peak that we can see, what is it? Is there something about it? Is there a history to it? Is there a name for it?
That's why the pass is called Blackfire Pass.
It's called Blackfire Pass because of the mountain?
The wind attacked the mountain. The hole that was there was destroyed.
This was many, many years ago, presumably. Does anyone go there? Is it habited?
You'll probably go up there.
But no one comes back. It is ill in my mind. It is projecting, I don't know, it's just there's certain dread comes from that mountain. Is there anything about the mountain, other than it was used to have a hole there, or?
Well, we did have a hole up there, as I said. The dragon attacked it, destroyed everyone there. It could be that. Days up there?
So the dragon's still up there? There's still a dragon up there?
I don't really know.
Right. But it went up there, attacked the hold, destroyed it, and then no one went to find out whether it was still up there because...
Yes, like attacking the dragon is really sensitive.
I never said attack it, I said go to see if it's still up there. So there's a dragon up there, is there? Are we going past that thing? No? We're not going to go past it, we're going to go up it. What? We're going to go straight to it.
I'll go around.
Yeah.
Or can't go under it.
We're not going anywhere near that peak. Oh, guide.
The view's like, no! No!
No! No.
Yeah.
Could be. Maybes. Why?
It's like that Netflix show. It's like, choose what's going to happen next.
Not that.
Yes.
Don't choose that.
No! Yes! No! The movie is revolting. No! Yes!
Right, okay, so we're not going anywhere near
We're not
that
listening.
peak. No. Right. Okay. I don't believe.
Want to go up there?
No. I want to stay and tell you away from it. I don't like the vibes. It's just it's.
So, investigate you. And your character there.
I mean, obviously you needed to confirm from your guide, but based on the direction of that you've been travelling, that he's been taking you through the pass, obviously the mountain itself is the dominant peak within the range, but you will not be getting close enough. Bear in mind that something of this large is hard
It's
to
just
estimate.
it's just in the distance somewhere, and
yeah.
you're like, oh right.
Yeah.
Right.
It would be you'd have to travel You'd have to suddenly turn into a westerly direction head and that sort of
Right,
way.
okay.
If everything stays the way it is, based on a 3-day journey, you'll be reaching the southern plain at some point today. So no, it is a dominant feature of the range, but you should not be coming within hailing distance.
Within capturing distance of it. Oh, right, okay. Unless the raiding parties go out far. Right, okay, well, let's get on with it then. Let's get out of this God's forsaken place.
Yep. Okay. You prepare yourself and start heading down the pass itself. As previously the day before, the going becomes remarkably simple. Almost a nice spring summer walk in the hills at this stage. The pass in the range opening up considerably to a very large valley. By midday, now this on your third day, the pass opens up onto a large plain of grassland which extends as far as the eyes can see south. The grassland itself is crossed by meandering rivers that glint in the early dawn, in the midday sun. Each of them seemingly fed from the mountains, mainly to your west. The base of the mountains, these black mountains in this pass, to your west is hidden by a forest that extends as far as the eye can see. To the east, and running east and southerly, is another forest. It used to be on the mouth of the valley, which opens up. So you see one forest heading far. It eventually ends up on a plain, which literally just goes on as far as I can see. To the east, you can see a darker forest because of the lee of this massive mountain range that's visible.
Are we, because we're facing south, that's why
Yeah.
you're east.
To your left. So you can see that the Black Mountains continues on into this area where these mountains all come together, this huge clashing of peaks and unknown valleys and passes. The mountains themselves, much larger than any mountains, even the Grey Mountains, which you've seen and grown up looking at. These mountains travel distant like a big spine on the world, heading far to the south. This valley, this grassland of yellowed grass and meandering rivers, extends onwards to the south. You realise that the pass itself, this opening area, will eventually enter. As you look down, you will enter this forest and you'll be heading south. But it's fairly sparse compared to the deeper forest to your left and one to the right. You can see where the valley, where this pass meets with a river, a large river, not rake-wise, definitely crossable, but you know, there's a large body of this large river is heading south, and it looks like your path will lead you alongside it. The river being on your left side. Only mere hours away, however, you can see that the forest thins out enough to be where it meets with the plain, and you can see in the distance a town. This town, even from here, seems to be on an outcrop within the plain, almost like the mountain has been shorn clear. It's the only place of height on this flat, undulating plain, and even from here you can see smoke rising from obvious structures.
Is it a wooden palisaded town? Is that what we're seeing? A bit like Reichdorf, or?
From this distance, you're pretty sure it doesn't look like anything like Reichdorf or anything like that. It looks squat and but is on the only raised plateau within this area.
What's the town? Grim? This is Helierberg, is it? So this is the human settlement you were talking about?
It is large to be seen at this distance.
I guess the question I have to ask is, are they used to having travellers coming to them? Or is it, are we...
Traded with them quite.
So
We probably still trade.
How do they view Semnithize
they probably don't even
and
know it.
Vantari?
Do they view them much like the dwarfs, the Dawi view us, which was
Well, if you
No-
all
no-
say that
not
you
very
come
kind.
from the south,
we came from the south thousands of years ago. We didn't come from like a week on Wednesday.
and you didn't know this settlement was here, possibly they don't know the
Are they used to seeing humans? Is what I'm trying. Like, there's a trade around here
human village.
coming in. Like, you're not Dave. I don't know who you are. We only ever see dwarfs. You know, we don't see he be a foreigner.
It's been a while since I've been here.
Some guide. Lead on, master.
Do these
Cool.
humans look like as we do? That's a
That's not a human.
None of them have your ability. That is for sure.
It's ability. When I'm asleep at night, isn't it?
You can transform into a dwarf.
Is that what you are?
Ha! The power of the northern gods pales in comparison to our northern gods. Look what I can do. I'm a dwarf.
Plenty of them. Look at them all over the place.
Pretty anticlimactic, actually.
Yeah.
Right, so heading south, you see that the foothills of the Black Mountains end obviously in this large plain. A river on its east bank runs beside it is a road, much travelled and very old. Since your history isn't given to large stone roads,
No,
You have seen
any
them.
snow
you
stone.
know of them, but
Yeah.
they're always dwarven made, or sometimes
elbow,
alpha. The river on its east bank, like I say, runs alongside a road which is south of you, upon which this high walled town can be seen on the only raised land visible. The hill that the town sits upon as you get closer, obviously even more so, dominates the plain at this end of the pass, its position giving it a clear sight for miles around. The forest to the east stops at the river, which gives it a clear border with the town. You work your way through onto the flatland. The trees are sparse and you can easily see amongst them.
So is this a city? Or town?
Well, we'd have to like.
Yeah, we've got nothing.
We would say, is it Reichdorf or is it
bigger than Reichdorf?
Bigger?
It is bigger than Reichdorf.
Yep,
Oh, okay.
absolutely.
bigger than the dwarf hold we came through?
Well, the dwarf hold it's hard for your mind to give any sort of term to. Effectively, out of game, it would be coming across Hexham when it was fortified, and then looking at Erebor, the actual movie. You know, and you sort of go, and that's this there's massive dwarven things, and you go, what is it bigger? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's just a front.
It's a carved mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So nothing even now looks anything like the dwarf hole that you came across. But it is definitely bigger than Reichdorf, and as far as you know, Reichdorf's the biggest human settlement.
It is the biggest human
And it
settlement.
dwarfs that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have a king.
Chieftain.
You climb, as you say, as I say, you make your way through the trees itself until eventually they give way to this open and undulating plain. You're on the road. The road is very old, very well made, but it doesn't look like it's being maintained. But it does make the going even easier than slogging through any dirt or.
Sounds like
through
it.
the buttons.
Does sound like Hexham. It's not maintained.
Eventually, you are within clear sight. This land, this raised platform, just gets larger and larger.
And no sign of any any human, like any activity from, like literally we're approaching this.
So now,
Right.
so as you've come out the trees, and this is getting larger, you can see what is effectively farmland. It's been grown off into different trees, and you can see people working the land. You can see large beasts of burden have been strapped into large ploughs, and there's obviously a scene of farming as well as cattle being bred, goat and sheep, pig, that sort of thing, all visible as you get close. Not in perfect grids, of course, but as you imagine this countryside. The path itself leads up towards this plateau, and as you get closer, you really get the understanding of how tall this plateau truly is. It definitely rises up above, and the path that you're on meanders around it and out of sight. Each, as it gets higher, this gap. At the top of this platform, this area that you're looking up at, you estimated it'd be about 100 foot up. Is when these walls, full fortifications of solid stone, not coming from a place where there's only some low fortifications put together by dwarf friend. This is walls of stone where they seem to meet in such a way that you can see distinct big lumps of these stone like granite blocks, but how they're held together, how it does, but it's square. It is very dwarf-like, clearly dwarf workmanship. It leads into towers on the other side. However, you can see wood has been driven into it and stamped to it, given it some repairs have been done where the stone has given way, whether it's through attack or misuse. You don't know how long dwarf workmanship lasts, but you can see that the town itself was obviously old, and you can see where root has taken and moss has grown, and obviously nature has its way if left left to itself of breaking even the best stone. The towers are capped in timber and reed to protect those from within. But otherwise, you can hear the tolling of bells and the sound of people. And easily the population of this place is 4 or 5 times that of Rhydorf.
Wow.
It is massive, truly monstrous.
Right.
As you make your way onto the path, people look up, but instead of looking up in fear, as you would recognise, they look up out of interest before getting back to their jobs. They do look different, slightly different to yourselves. You can see that their clothing is of more muted colours. You can see that their trousers seem to be ballooned and pulled in at the knee. You can see they wear the hat is kept on with straps from the sun above, but it is more of a rounded conical-like shape. You can see that from a few of the people that look like warriors, their armour seems to be metal plates in a horizontal-like design, held together, punched and held together with rivets or wire, lamellar armour.
And are they less pelty than we are?
Very much less pelty.
Right.
There's a distinct lack of pelts. The weapons, anyway, effectively you're ignored as you make your way to the town. However, as you as you say, you've already given it its name. As you get closer and you leave behind the farm and you start rising up, you note that there is the small foot traffic, these heavy beasts of burden with these massive horn-like edifices that come off their plodding heads, their browbeaten, big, huge beasts, very much like the cows and the cattle that you've got in your homeland, but somehow they just look bigger and slower, and obviously of prodigious strength. The few people that are sort of bringing them forward, and they're carrying wheat or whatever they have in their wagons, etc. You pass these by, you're at a faster pace, and you start getting towards the wall. You see, as you get to the wall itself, it has a very large metal gate which is pulled back. However, you can see that there are distinctly a large amount of soldiers upon the bastion wall looking down upon you. The faces become darker, more frowning. You reach the wall and pass through, and inside you can see there's some kind of market near the main gate. There are a lot of people here. You can see that there are stalls effectively set up, large heavy Hessian sacks with colourful seeds and some kind of materials within them. You can see that there's all kinds of things available. But those that look upon you seem to have faces of distrust. Some are, all seemingly become hostile. After a moment, to look upon you, realise you look different. It's not for you, mainly for them. They look away from you quite quickly, but they see that the look is quite hostile and definitely distrustful. Women bring their children closer. Men look away. As you make your way through,
Pelts.
yeah,
It's the pelts.
The barbarians.
Camel punch.
You can see that the buildings themselves are around within the town itself. After you pass by this main massive stone building, stone walls, you see the towns are more in line with the human. Timber constructs, low level huts, that sort of thing. And you can see very much like the king's, like Rhydorf, like the other habitation, is the path leads up. There is a main dominant hall, and this is of large stone, very characteristic of the dwarven build. Though it's been carved in such a way as to be more human, it's been done with such quality and such materials, only the dwarves can make it. You can see that there's a blacksmith openly sitting there with a very stone-looking building. The front is opened up. You can see there is more of this strange-looking armour. These swords, which seem to be of long-handled, thin of blade at one point, which then curves slightly, becomes much heavier. As a curve, very much like the horse tribes of the South Reich Basin. As you make your way forward, you pass by a fairly modest hut. Its cross-beam doorway is carved, not too crudely, but it's not exactly eloquent. of that of a bird in flight. It's been painted it's faint now, much crusted, but you can see that it was painted white, this bird. A woman, an old woman, you can see favouring her right leg as she steps out sweeping with a long-handled reed-like brush, looks at you as you pass by. Again, ignoring you, but unlike the rest of them, her look is not hostile. It's sorrowful, but also she looks somewhat pale under her tan. Yeah. So in passing through the town, you can see that there's a worrying distrust upon the face of the townsfolk. The town is heavily fortified with grim-looking warriors glaring down from the walls and towers. Having passed through the gate, you know it is closed behind you. Not immediately, it's not like get me out of the way, but the gate is closing. You can see it is heavily barred and reinforced. The town is obviously apparently your first indication. It seems to be very grim. And upon seeing you, the look of the denizens, the people here, is openly hostile. There are many warriors in this strange armour, and unlike the ones that you saw upon horseback, these people have very short stabbing, like blade weapons. They carry shields, and they definitely know you can see by the way that their armour is, that their shield is, that they're very much trained in the shield wall. Their distinct armour is consisting of small squares that are bound together in horizontal rows, punched and laced. Their heads are protected by wide dome helms covered with cloth and trimmed with animal fur around the edges. You become aware that the area around you has become silent and still. Its occupants, who are openly hostile, stare now upon you without any regard for subtlety. Instinctively, you slow. The moment that the thought begins to form that you possibly aren't welcome here and that you should leave, when an authoritative, heavily accented voice cuts out across the silent throng of people that have stopped parting for you. Stop! You look up the road, the main way, the main thoroughfare, and you see a rider approaching. You've got riders in the right base, and you've got horses in the right base. And these are a little bit shorter of leg and heavier build. The crowd gives way as a warrior appears before you. Looking direct at you from horseback, dwarf, you may go as you see fit. Your companions may not. Bring them. He indicates you two with a nod of your head, and you hear the sounds of swords being drawn from wicker. Not like shing, like they do in the movies. The small mules to see warriors on horseback arrive. They've got short curved bows, which they bring arrows which are down at near their legs on their pommel. They draw their bows and draw the bow, point the arrows at you. As other soldiers move towards you, you step before them.
Well, this answers our
They're
question.
surrounded.
Yeah. Friendly? No. Grim, what's going on? The
Step aside, dwarf, you'll answer for their crimes.
Their crimes?
crimes?
What is their crimes?
The prince will have his say. Bring them to the main hall.
Walk over with them to the main hall.
You obviously, unless you're going to draw weapons,
No.
they close in around you.
Don't want to embarrass them by beating them all over pulp.
Come up! Fire! You lean forward. They distinctly keep away from you, letting you go through. It's marked by a sign of respect. Perhaps they know what the hair means and the tattooing. But for yourselves, whenever they get close, you get nudged. You feel the sign of a spear go in your back, and you push forward. At this close proximity, it's
Calm down.
you're very much aware of the naked blades that are being drawn in, against you.
I know what Caradak's like. You touch me once again, big nose.
You get within sight of the main hall, directly in sight. And
Can I just ask, when they were talking to us, is it normal Reich Basin?
very thickly accented.
Right.
There are certain words, but enough that I'm not quite sure what the hell that was, but the
You didn't-
sentence is enough.
yeah.
There's enough recognisability, like, yeah, alright, they just call me bitch tits.
Yeah. Death.
Say no more. Say no
Okay.
more. Lead the way.
Okay. Barbecue time, is it?
One side.
Yeah.
You, as you get close to the main
Helps.
building, two of the... You've disappeared completely off camera. You
I'm
just
sorry.
nose again.
The nose of doom.
Two guards move away from the main door. They've got red tunics and got this laminar-like black painted hauberks. They step forward and they step forward. They haven't got their weapons drawn, but you can see that they are still have sheathed swords, weapons,
Yes, we have. Thank you.
but you can't hide them. And they reach out, literally going to take your weapons off you. You are very much there. People are spears, bows are being held. You have literally got, this is like a lion. You're like, we don't know what they're going to do. You've got so many arrows and spears. It is literally, they are not taking any chances. Whether or not they know it's a Semnathai and they're just ready to kill you on the first sight, you don't know. But there's a distinct, you can feel tension on a fine thread. They are very tense, very hostile towards you. Around you, they're looking for any single one, a single misstep, and it's going to be ended in
Shish
instant
kebab
bloodshed.
Oh, it's steady, easy. Fathil Tigre, easy tiger.
They push aside your cloak, draw your swords away from you. Your shield is yanked off your back roughly. Your axe and sword is taken away. They don't hit you or treat you any different. They literally just disarm you very quickly. Unless you've got anything hidden, they're going to take whatever's visible.
Only my chastity.
They don't take your axes at
given.
all. They don't try to do anything with you. They allow you to carry them.
We'll allow you.
You're then taking up a couple of steps into the main hall. Having been quickly disarmed, you're roughly pushed and shoved forward by the guards towards the large pointed building at the top of the hill. In passing, I've already handed you that, haven't I?
This, yep.
You've seen the small wooden building and its door with crossed timbers, decorating the carving of the winged bird.
You talking about that one?
Yeah. Having quickly lost sight of that particular one building itself, and you moved in there. On entering the building, you recognise it for what it is: the longhouse or the lord of this town's hall. Though not as big as King Bjorn's hall, many of which are not, it is very similar. Areas of the hall are given over to work. Aside from the main fire pit and the hanging braziers for light, the length of the hall is walled off into separate areas. To your left, you can see women are combing plant stems beside barrels of water, each filled with the plant stalks. Beside them, laid across netting and giving off a thick steam, you can see the stems are drying. Before near the raised steps and the high chairs, you can see that some final product is being woven into cloth. The whole preparation from literally from stem flax to clothing and weaving is dedicated to the left side of this hall. On the other side of the hall, you can see that meat is hung beside barrels of salt and other materials and food needed by the town on a daily basis. It is a working hall. Unlike King Bjorn's, this is how it began. King Bjorn's is now, this is my palace, effectively, all the beginnings of it. This is very much the way that the halls used to be.
And yet this is a much bigger town.
Yes.
Interesting.
Your eyes settle on the empty thrones. The larger, on your left, as you approach, is shaped of natural woods and bound in iron. The wood is stained a dark grey, while the smaller, on its right, equally of wooden construction, is stained white and appears like that of some exotic bone. It is wood, it's just been crafted in a way. Before the thrones and dominating the end of the hall are several long tables and benches. Sitting at the table closer to the throne, you see a young man, possibly late 20s. His head is shaven down the sides and the top drawn back and waxed into a high knot similar to the north, to your own hair. A blue jerkin can be seen under his sleeveless lamellar armour, a hauberk of iron. On the table, sheathed is a long, wide-bladed sword with a heavy curve, similar to the horse warriors of the Burgundian tribe. Sitting opposite him, his head lowered, and obviously talking to him quietly, you see a man twice his age. His robes are of a dark red with heavy, flowing sleeves and a deep hood, which he has thrown back to reveal a broad face, surrounded by wild, unkempt hair and thick beard, both matted and caked with grease and white powder. Woven into the beard and hair, you can see thin strands of twisted copper wire hung with talismans of bones and small wooden carvings and beads. The man that was mounted and originally addressed you has walked in and walks past you. He stops a good distance away and calls out in his deep voice, "My prince, 2 strangers have arrived from the north in the company of this dwarf." You know the slight dip of the warrior's head, a sign of frustration and anger at his interruption. Without even looking or without even turning to stare at you, he picks up his horn cup, which is resting in a wooden holder, takes a deep pull from it before placing it back. You see, without the holder, the cup would fall. "And you thought I should know, Batubish?" The sudden silence and the dim, smoked, clogged closeness of the hall hints at expected violence and a volatility of the one addressed as prince. That expectation is further emphasized by the odd shuffle and almost held breath of the warriors and servants within. "Take them to my father, fool." The rush of blood to his face indicates his rising anger. "My prince," the warrior speaks and motions for you to be taken outside. You shuffle, that closely packed with his warriors, you can barely take a stride. It's uncomfortable, and it's obviously designed as such. You shuffle back out onto the road. Outside the hall, you can breathe in the fresh air, and you cleanse the stink of the hall from your nose and lungs. You stand in silence under the gaze of the original warriors who came to a sudden... You stand in the gaze of the original warriors, the one that originally approached on horseback, the one that approached the prince. He stares at you and then goes, as he exhales explosively, "By Varena's tits, release them. He's forgotten his own orders." Perhaps it was that snot bag, Kensai Khan. He stops and eyes you again once more. "Apologies, we were under orders, I speak out of turn." He motions with a simple rising of his forehead back down the hill. "Ardma will feed you and give you a place to rest. And avoid this main hall and be about your business at first light." "Away with you," he mentions to the guards. He stands there. He does look apologetic. You are very quickly, your weapons are returned.
Oh, I was going to say, can we have weapons back?
The soldiers
been
move
robbed.
on. He is starting to turn and walk away.
What?
What did you say about?
He just went out. Ardma will feed you and give you a place to rest. He's still there. He's
Yeah.
he's just starting to turn if you want to talk.
Whereabouts is Alma?
She's the woman with the white painted house. Hut.
We shall go there. Lead them on to the white thing, the hut.
Do you just follow?
Yeah.
What did you say that? Whose orders it was?
Kensai Khan.
Kensai Khan.
Well, it would be said.
Oh yeah.
Kensai Khan.
Kensai Khan.
Kensai Khan.
Kensai Khan.
Is this normal for this town?
You know of several barracks which you would have been given, you'd sleep within or probably sleep off a good drinking bout, are dotted around this fortified town.
I'm only thinking because bad company.
Else.
Pels.
You head back down the hill as you talk.
No vegans, we didn't know.
The woman is no longer visible, having either left or she's stepped back into her hut. When we say hut, it's not small by any means,
Yeah.
but compared to the other buildings around, everything seems to be, even though you can see that this is a small hut, it's still bigger than the average home in Reichdorf, but small in scale in comparison to the walls and the overall scale of the locations.
Right, well, let's go and see this Odma and see if she can give us some food and shelter, apparently. Lead on, dwarf.
Lead on to the white hut.
Takes a couple of minutes to retrace your steps. The message that you're to be left alone and go about your business hasn't obviously filtered its way down through the town.
Right, so we're getting a lot of disdainful looks, are we?
Very hostile looks, distrustful looks.
Friendly-
You are,
Friendly place.
Lead the way.
whether you're just oblivious to this normally, you're just aware of it now. It could be like this every time you visit it, but you're distinctly aware of it now.
Well, definitely wouldn't do that.
Yeah. City full of vegans and we turn up in pelts.
History may not be what you remember.
It's been 10,000 years. No one remembers it. Oh.
You take it to the
What's
hut,
difference?
you step through, or step in, or you're leading the way.
Knock on the door.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah. Okay. You knock on the door and wait. Okay. After a couple of moments, the door opens up. It's on metal hinges, not leather. Everything about this is very dwarven and very well made. Opens up. Inside, you can see that it's very well lit from torches upon the walls. And there's an old woman. She's definitely seen far too many winters, and it seems to be engraved in her skin. She wears a much greyed, dirty, but once white robe, and her hands are stained with use from the earth, but also you get the smell of chemical, the smell of yes,
Like dyes and
yeah,
things, tinctures, things been boiling and things not being.
yes.
Yeah, but it's not like caustically like you were in a like you had gone to the Mad Hatter's place where it's like making your eyes water. But it's definitely she's a hedge witch.
you.
Yes, yes.
Odma.
It is I. I am Odma. Are you ailing?
We were sent here by the guard captain commander to get shelter and food.
for the night.
Of course.
Oh dear!
For the night.
For the you may be 86, but been on the road a long time.
Batabish, I see. He sends people here that might have fallen foul of the prince's ill humour. He knows that he will not come here. Please come. There is food and rest. But please, leave your weapons,
I was gonna say,
your items of death at the door.
If you-
Inside.
leave,
Come.
leave your servant at the door. Oh, okay. Right, well,
Just steps in, letting you pass by.
we'll leave
Why is everyone so angry?
Did not say. Please come in. It's not wise to talk about it outside.
Okay.
The door is thick and heavy. Yeah, whether or not this is a particular building that's been fortified or not, but this is heavier than Reichdorf's main gate.
Right. We turn around. Where is she on the ceiling? Ooh, crap.
You see that the wall, the floor is littered in cots, mattresses, stuffed mattresses. They're all everything. The rush on the floor, fresh. It's all clean. Everything's clean. There seems to be nobody else here.
Right.
But it can house at least 24 people, possibly ill, injured, or sick. She steps, come, and you step through this area. Now, these 24 are going to be, obviously, they're side by side with this stone brushed path in the centre. Near the back, you see that the light is coming through by a carefully designed circle in the ceiling itself, allowing light to cast light into a shallow pool of water. Please, as tradition would dictate, I will give you food and water. Take your footwear off and bathe your feet in the water. She brustles around. She brings brass or bronze beaten metal plates. Within it, there's some fruit and some light meats and that sort of thing. She produces this food. She gives you flagons that stand very similar to the cup that you saw in the main room. After you've sat, whether you've taken your boots off or not, you see she's limping all this time, grimacing as with each step. Eventually, as you do settle down, Burgunda, daughter of Tugai and Kenmare, she went missing 2 nights past without a trace from within Heilegeberg. Cancer Khan, the king's he's advised the Prince Baticus, while his father and mother are away to the west visiting, that he does not send word. I think that basically you're caught up in all of this, that being strangers.
Someone's been abducted or someone's been lost. That's what.
We do not know. The king's daughter has gone missing from within the walls.
Well, we've just got here, so.
And you were to be questioned, no doubt. I was there when Kansakai said, when he advised the prince, but the prince is often in his drink. He was ordered any strangers, anybody coming to and from the town would be questioned. Had they seen anything of suspicion on the road?
But we were not questioned.
prince is of a foul mood, as he normally is. And if he is at this time of day, no doubt, deep into his cups, you are lucky that you've just been sent packing. We are not normally like this. We are normally very open to trade and to strangers for news of outside world. I apologise on behalf of our people, but the princess is very much loved, and her going missing when the king and queen are away is always such a bad omen.
What is the princess's name?
Burgunda. The prince or princess?
Princess.
Burgunda. Have you seen anything? Do you have
No,
word of strange doings? People travelling on the road?
we've seen no one.
Such a sad state.
And the king and the queen? When are they due to return?
I don't know. Normally, this time of year, they travel west. There are tales that the creatures of the south have amassed, that towns have fallen, and that they are heading north. I think he headed west with the queen to see her family and raise an army. I don't know how long they've been away, several weeks now. Are you travelling south? The road, I hear, is fraught with danger and an encroaching army.
The good dwarf is our guide.
We will be heading south. Through the forest of gloom.
The forest of what?
You never said this before.
Yeah, I had a minute. The forest of what?
Gloom.
Gloom.
I thought you said doom, but that doesn't sound like
Right, no, they sound both equally cheery, don't they? The forest of gloom.
You head on the Old Dwarf Road to the Silver Path.
It's a safe path.
Is it?
It has been some time since we have had to worry about the threat from the tribes, or the goblin tribes there. We have turned for a long time to the south for our enemies, where the greenskins are larger and more numerous. But, even said, though the dwarves seem to walk the dwarf road with impunity, our people dare not go into the forest.
No, I see. Why? Why are the dwarfs are let through, but humans are not?
I cannot tell you why. It just seems that the dwarves do not seem to fear to tread in the forest.
Interesting. Now we find out it's called the Forest of Gloom. Kept that one to himself. Now we find out that apparently humans can't go through. Dwarfs are fine. I see. What's the plan, dwarf? What's...
Heading through gloom.
He's been travelling with us for 6 months or so.
Yeah.
He doesn't speak much.
No.
You know very little of him.
No. But now he wants to take us into Robber Pass.
And yet he has the rock.
He's got the rock. He wants to go to Pants Down Corner, and apparently where only the dwarves can get through. He doesn't seem particularly bothered about it as well. Like he's blatant about it.
If you stick to the path, you should be fine. Is it really dark and you get
Yeah. Through bottom-touching avenues and like.
There's a lot of bottom touching and bottom touching happening. But
Yeah.
he's got a name.
The last thing you want to do there is flashlights.
Yeah. Or touch cloth. Ah.
Sight is weaker.
So what? I can see like an eagle. See for miles, me man.
Until you step into the forest of gloom.
Well, we're just finding out about this. You've kept this one quiet. What else are we going to do?
Forest of gloom and the path of short-sightedness.
The river of incontinence. What?
So say we make
Where the goblin tribes of never miss
Like,
and really long swords.
and
I don't know why they've got that name.
As they can't see.
with the hideously accurate catapults. Yes.
That's the hideously accurate catapult tribe.
It'll be the quickest route.
I thought you could say the quickest death you'll ever seen. What?
That's the only route.
Right.
The only route.
Forest of Gloom. What else are you not telling us?
Well, there's the passive human sudden death.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. The wishing well of diarrhea. What? Drink from the wishing well of diarrhea. What? Oh! Now then.
When did Princess Pagonda?
Pagonda?
Did I say that
Pagonda?
right?
Uganda.
Pagonda. When did Princess Pagonda go missing?
2 nights ago.
What was she doing?
That she went missing, I don't know.
It was like just one day she wasn't in her room, or she went for a walk, she was on a horse.
Yes.
Yes, all of that. She was walking on a horse.
All of the above.
She was walking a horse in a bedroom when
While asleep.
she went to sleep beside the hole of bottomless death.
Yeah.
Why is that in her room?
Yeah.
Yes, well, she was known as Pagunda, the ever-rolly sleeper. So, do you think...
She was given her normal nightly draft
Does
of
Oddma have a
Rohypnol,
cellar?
and it's got a cellar.
Does Oddma have a cellar?
Yeah. It's the first place to check because she looks dodgy as hell.
The old
Oh, there
healer
she is.
with the gammy leg.
Get her! Get
I
her!
don't trust her.
Quick!
She reminds me of the Hag Mother.
Woman of power.
All right.
Stab.
Won't look so good when we eat you. What?
Yeah, she reminds me of your ma.
Hey, that's a good looking pot. Probably can fit an entire old woman in there. And you have to cut a bit up.
Do you ask her if she has a cellar?
No.
Out the blue. So when did she go missing? 2 nights ago. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Do you have a cellar?
Yeah.
Nope.
We got shackles.
Solved.
That always happens.
What we need now is peg face.
What?
Pegfish is a real person. I'm not visualising him coming into this.
I'm lost. What am I doing here?
I'm telling.
I was in
What
Chapel
are you doing?
House.
I'm
Shooting him?
reenacting a scene from a past game.
I was in Chapel House and now look at me with armour.
Oh, right.
I'm reenacting a
Yeah.
past scene.
You know what got me? Is because pum is not the same as right? That's different. That gives us an idea. Oh, maybe a sniper shot. You're like pum, like he was catapulted into the air like a shot put.
Well,
I don't think that the Vindicar sniper,
Boom.
peg face this Vindicar sniper. Brilliant. That's a story for another day. Tomorrow night, in fact.
Tomorrow night.
Right.
so 2 nights ago,
2 nights ago,
she was writing.
in the cellar.
What was she writing?
She wasn't writing. What? No, she was in her room. I don't know. I'm just a healer.
Well, Haley,
Do you
you've
want
got
some soup?
I was at a family barbecue.
I wasn't here.
I was
I was asleep in the tree.
I was
You know what,
too.
the more she talks, the more guilty she sounds.
Gonna stir this pot. Is that a leg in there? No.
Yeah, what is in the pot? What
Just
were
a
we
head bobbing around.
eating? We're definitely eating fruits.
Child. I mean, pig.
Princess.
Two. Oh, nice meat. Yes, princess. Pig meat. It was
Just
called
like-
princess.
Crown.
All my pigs have that.
I look after them really
This
well.
one had an amulet with a P on it. Yeah, for pig.
Oh,
Right. Seems reasonable.
yeah, it does. You can't argue with
Can you
that.
pass us a second trotter, please? Just a foot.
It looks like you left its sandal on.
Really looks after these pigs.
Stocking.
Looks after them really well. Look at that one. No wonder the townsfolk would avoid her. With the big heavy doors, like, don't go in there.
Where you staying? Oh, old cannibal Helga's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The orphan eater. We don't have an orphan problem. Why? Helga.
Don't have a homeless problem. Don't have anything sort of problem. No one's on the streets after 6 o'clock.
Everyone stays at Helgi's house.
Get a lot of travellers. We get a lot arriving. Too many leaving.
Oddman's put on a lot of weight, though.
I was singing about Tal and what he said.
Oh, I thought you should call me Tell. I was thinking Tell. Shh.
Easy assumption to me. Yeah.
I probably am a god to you, yeah. You were thinking.
That's how I said it.
You were thinking about Tell. What were you thinking about Tell?
What was it saying?
I don't.
No.
It's the last couple of minutes, so think of something
I was thinking.
that I can go dun dun dun.
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking about what Tal said
Specifically.
about how we need to unite people, tribes.
Right.
I sense this could be one of those opportunities, Master.
With the healer,
The princess.
the missing princess.
Well, what if you can help find the princess?
As long as you know what she looks like,
Yeah.
you can say just right this after.
I don't know what she looks like.
Perhaps if we had something that belonged to her.
Like this show at the bottom, like this. What does she look like? Like that. Found her.
Like her, but alive.
I've seen you do this.
Do we have time? I thought,
Well, we.
but we're supposed to be striking to meet the High King.
We will. We have.
We're not.
Spend the night here before we go through the forest.
Before we go to the Forest of Gloom.
So it's about midday. What time are you? What time would you be looking to leave on the morrow?
I'm not going to leave at midnight. What?
Same time we'll be breaking,
Dawn.
To go what? A full day. Effectively.
Well, we're 24. We'll get some sleep in between there, presumably, you know.
Mm. So, I guess any little help would be
I
something.
need to know something. What she looks like. I can't just say go and find a girl.
There's something that belonged to her.
Okay, I'll check my pockets. I don't think I've got anything.
Perhaps Odma could help.
Oddma, have you got-
So look at her.
yeah, have you got something in your pockets that belong to her?
No.
Would it be possible to get something
Why?
of hers valuable?
Why?
Belonged to her?
Well, she's missing. Can we rob her? Have you got anything important that she used to like? Why? She's not here, and we like it. Any gold? Special.
Perhaps
things.
her master could help locate her.
I don't quite know what you're asking about.
He's not hiding.
I'm
I
just
don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just like, what
I'm somewhat confused as well.
are you asking the healer for specifically? Come on, Garrett. What are you asking her for?
Gary.
Gary.
come here.
Is it Caradak?
Caradak.
Gary Dack. Gary Dack.
Gary, because the healer, the old woman, loves it up, man. Do you like it? Do you like the Gary?
Do you like it?
What?
Do you like Monsieur Glitter?
We're going to leave it there.
He's been on the road for too long.
What are you talking
We're
about?
going to leave it there as Caradak asks the old, infirm healer if she likes it up the Gary Glitter.
God.
I didn't ask
God,
that.
you can't take him anywhere.
I didn't ask that. I was asking
Come
him.
warm your bones. Oh, warm me bones. I'm sure she does. She
You're
loves
asking
it.
that of Ulmakor instead then.
Yeah, I was asking him. Okay.
Or if he likes it up the Gary.
What?
Not if he likes
Only
it.
for ritual.
Only
It was a ritual,
person.
and you weren't invited. You shouldn't have been watching.
I was communing with the spirits.
Like Gary.
He just says at the top of his lungs now, Gary! Gary! Gary!
We need to find the. He's been away from the tents of pleasure for too long. It's affecting him. Got a lot of dirty water on board.
That was an interesting episode.
It got really weird at the end. Let's ask the old woman.
Awkward moment.
Have you've got anything off that young kid? What? The one that's gone missing? You got anything for it? Anything you want to give us? What? What? Gary. It's like,
Gary?
what? What's wrong with you? I'm Victoria.
Okay, I don't know where Gary came from. I thought you said to me.
It came from before
come
there
here,
was child,
Gary.
before they could protect themselves from unwanted childbirth. So Gary was the way forward.
I'm not talking about Gary as in that Gary. I'm talking about him saying,
I said-
"Oh, Gary." I thought you
I
said.
said, Car-
Well, you thought he went, oh, Gary.
Yeah.
I said, Caradak, where you going with this? Gary?
Were you calling Gary?
It's like,
Gary?
where you going with this? Gary.
False rumour.
The question was posed, where you going with this? Gary. Fucking hell, calm down, man. You can't. She's 80, man. Don't touch that.
He's looking over your shoulder.
just like.
No. I was thinking if you can, you can do the hominas. Hominas and, get in touch
But-
with your spirits and, help.
Spirits to look for.
Yeah.
Please, spirits, look.
Word.
Wait.
Let's look for a. I'm looking for a human child.
You remember when you did that thing with the brooch?
Yeah, but I need something to work on. I can't just sort of go,
Yeah.
go and find me a
Something
human
that-
child. What about this one? No, not that one. What about this one? No, that one. How many kids in the city? About 3,000. Right? Do we ever, like
No, something that belonged to her. Maybe it had something that belonged to her that was connected to her that you could then
in
use
a?
as to channel.
I realise where you're going. I now realise where you're going. But
Yeah.
why would the healer woman have the things of the
I'm
princess?
not saying she would have it, but she would acquire it. No,
And she would have answered quite clearly, no.
no.
You didn't get the impression that she's particularly close to the.
I was
the
gonna say,
ruling
like-
family or anything. She
But I'll
looks
go-
very much like she's making her own way in the world.
No, okay.
And when you're here, when you're in this place, now that you're in here, you can see that there is all the paraphernalia of a traditional healer. Splints, dried herbs, poultices, that sort of thing. There's nothing.
Oh, how's my
Oh!
Who?
Oh! GM!
Oi,
how's Tom? No, how's am I
sorted.
Scratching unexplained.
yeah,
Itching.
Have I got that? Was it still wounded?
Are you just going to be like, top off and have a look?
Yeah, I want
Hey,
to know.
hey,
Okay.
hey, woman! Do you want to come look at me wound?
Yeah, you quickly whip
Oh,
your
we're in a healer.
so you quickly whip your top off, and you
You
are
ever s-
surprised to see that
Have you ever seen that before? Ah,
there is no evidence of the injury or scarring.
I'm good.
You are good.
I'm really good.
You were like, I haven't changed his pulse. You haven't changed his poultice in 3 days.
No, well, since he stopped being a dwarf, I've like, forgotten. Oh,
It's
Oh,
actually
you're
what's
fine.
causing
you're
it.
fine.
That night. Ah, shit!
I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I'll care for you. Yeah, I forgot. I got
Yeah.
bored. Turns into a vampire. Everyone dies. No, there is the fact that it could heal is
Miraculous,
miraculous, but also zero scarring.
But did he have this predilection towards Gary before he was bitten, or is this something maybe
Definitely the first time you've heard him shout at the top of his lung 3 times. Gary!
Gary?
No, it wasn't shouting. And more. First one was Gary, and then you went Gary. I'm like, not Gary.
Was the first
Gary.
one the face that you were pulling? Was it more like Gary?
Yeah.
Like unexpected.
No, I think it was.
Was
I
it
think
Gary?
I think it was.
Because he came close.
Or was it?
He
Was it
came
more?
in
Was
close
it
and
more?
was
Did you
Gary.
like turn and go Gary?
Gary.
Like, eh?
Oh, Gary.
Yeah.
What's that?
Available.
What is that?
So is his surname like Caradak Grinder?
This isn't
Gary.
Friday yet,
Caradak
right?
the Grinner. Caradak's Grinner.
Caradak Grinder. Swipe left. Ooh.
So when you're sitting there having a couple of beers and he suddenly dives past and his cheeks apart going, full moon!
Yeah, look at that. You want to see me open wound? No.
But anyway, good news. So, apart from the Gary bit, no, the wound is 100% without trace.
More sleeps out.
So I'm healed.
See the light from no, there's something wrong with you. You're still sick. You
He's
got.
rubbing his balls at you with his legs up there going, I want to set me moonstones.
That's disgusting.
You can help tap me power. No. No.
No, 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 no,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Right.
Ooh, they've got themselves the great servant. I've got the one-eyed trouser snake.
Behold the mighty sword.
Oh, there's Spanish.
It's more of a twiglet. Anyways, it's sort of this all went a bit crazy at the, at the end.
So yes, so it ends with
A very
you
confused
asking
pensioner.
if the healer had anything of the princesses,
Yes.
and you understand where he's leading with
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and she simply is like, no, but why? She seems to be confused at strangers. You know, there's no shadow of a doubt why she's why, like,
Yeah.
as in what's it got to do with you?
Yeah.
But clearly indicates that she's not of importance within society here. She is a healer, but the place is empty. Because she's really good.
Yeah, everyone's fit.
But as a hospice or hospital or a medical area is concerned, now bear in mind that you've never seen a building dedicated to the injured or the sick or the frail. This is the first time, but clearly this is what it is.
Great, I've got norovirus.
You're just bringing death everywhere you go.
Oh, yeah.
You're the guy that goes into the tropical forest and sneezes on people. You could have told us you had a cold. No, I've been harbouring this.
Yeah. It's not really a cold, it's more flu.
How bizarre was that? It was like, right, you go, run. Oh, okay. Sorry. Just out the other side. And I came out the other side going, what the fuck just happened?
Exactly.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, here's your sword, here's your shield. Sorry. What?
Yeah.
Go and see the old woman.
Right.
This sounds like a setup.
Have you
We're all
got
gonna
it?
eat eaten
And
tonight.
then you get there. You got anything from the young girl? Any other possessions? Anything with a scent on it? What the hell?
You're sick.
But yeah,
I'm not one shouting Gary to an old lady.
that's exactly what happened. There was obviously a standing order. You were taken.
Someone needs
at
to do
sword
it.
point. You get there, and then the prince is literally just like, "Why are you bothering me?" And then this captain, this guy, has obviously went, "Forgot his own bloody orders. I'm sick of this." You know, you can see that. You know, but then he stops himself.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's Kenzak and the captain.
no, he's the.
No, it was.
Well, he mentioned Ken Sakai.
Oh, Ken
No,
Sakai.
no, I wrote his name down.
Yeah.
He was
He's a
called Batubor. Batubor.
Battle piss or something.
Battle piss.
Battle Piss.
I call thee battle piss.
You did say battle piss.
Didn't it?
Battle pish. He's an Irish fucking talker.
Battle
pish.
Battle Bish. Batu Bish.
Batugis. Batugis.
Batugis.
Batujis?
Batugis.
Why do you pick names like this? This is
Hey,
super trouble.
bring in Battle Jizz.
Batugis. You've heard Ken Sakan, Ken Saikan, Begunda, Odma.
Oh, this is an
Actually, no. It's Batubish is is the god. that took him
Commander.
out outside.
Yeah.
Batubish.
Yeah.
Yeah, Batubish.
But it's forever going to be Battle
Battle
Jizz,
Piss.
Battle Piss,
Battle
or Battle
Battle
Jizz. Battle Jizz.
And Odma, the Gary healer.
Odmander.
Healer of Gary.
It's a bit stretched. Can you do anything about that? No, that's ruined now. That one's just gone. No. No. You need a miracle. Should it be this colour? No. Shouldn't drip as well.
Right, well, that's episode 16 over and done with.
If you've enjoyed the ending, some
the
of,
ending?
if you particularly enjoyed some of the more sort of freeform chat that goes on,
Can't turn that way.
then you'll have to tune in for tomorrow night's exciting
Banter.
where we'll discuss Battle Piss, Battle Jizz, Monsieur Glitter of the Gary, and other such amazing things that.
Ow.
That's normally the side effect of Gary
what-
love.
yeah, that's exactly right. It can be tender, but I imagine it's quite painful, or at least sore afterwards.
Gary, Mr. Glitter was famous for that.
You need more.
Doing that in his songs. Ow!
You need
What song did he sing?
more ointment. What song did he sing? Leader of the pack, apparently.
You can't say that.
He did.
What? That's offended you? You drew a line at that? We've been mockery. We've been going on about Gary Glitter, right? Up the shitter. But you
About
draw the
some
line at the actual name of his
So
song.
yeah. Oh, that's disgusting.
Leader of
That's
the
just
pack.
too far.
That's
Leader of the park. Draw a
oh,
line,
that's
done.
right. Oh, that's wrong.
This fiction is too dark.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
Shipping. That's what's going to come of this, you see. Caradak, ship, Odma, unrequited love.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. So he's Gary. It was a question. She's limping. And he went, Gary?
Yeah. Like,
She's like, yes. How can you tell?
it's a battle wound.
So perceptive.
I've seen
Gary?
it. I've seen it very often. I know the telltale signs. Anywhere the Victoria have been, there's often a lot of pensioners wandering around limping in the same way.
Apparently the prince likes the feel of breaking hips. They call him the ice liver. Anyway, right.
His name's osteoporosis.
This is rolling into Friday.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
carry
we're
on.
just not going to go home now.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to work tomorrow. Bollocks to it. We'll just
Me neither.
we'll just need to get a crate of rum.
It's not the way you think. That's not the way you think I mean it.
Just sounded that way as
Me
well.
too. Ha!
You're hilarious. Oh, the irony.
You're unemployed.
Hey, anyone's
I'm a boil.
No, man. I'm gonna.
Hey, everyone who's going to go to work tomorrow, just not you, Kane.
Just end,
Oh, right.
Just end this. End this.
You're
End
royal.
this. Just end this.
Just end this now.
Good night, everybody. Good night from Kane.
Good night.
Just gonna see you. Nevin's gone. Bye.
Bye. Good night from Talbot. Talbot can't turn that way right now, so sorry.
Good night. See you tomorrow for a chat next Thursday for episode 17, Rise of an Empire. Thanks, everybody.
See you. Bye.
Pull Gary.
Poor Gary.